Imagine you're preparing for a wedding, confident that you found your perfect person. And then you accidentally find out that all this time she's been leading a double life. And her real husband is not you. I didn't believe it at first either. But when I found out the truth, I could only take revenge. Hello, friends. I'm glad to see you on the channel. I always thought I had a perfect life. Well, not exactly a fairy tale, but close to it. My job was stable, my friends were loyal, and most importantly, I had it. Kate. She was everything I was looking for in a woman. Beautiful, smart, kind. We had been together for 3 years and were planning a wedding. Seriously, I thought I knew everything about her. I loved waking up next to her. She always smiled at me in the morning, even if she was sleepy. She would make coffee while I was showering and always leave me a note with something nice when she left for work before I did. Her care was real. She would make me my favorite burger for no reason, because I know you love it. When I was sick, she would bring me tea and watch old movies with me, even though she hated action movies. My friends kept saying that I had won the jackpot. And I believed it. We weren't just a couple, we were a team. We could talk for hours, laugh at stupid things and just be silent together without feeling awkward. It was a level of intimacy I had never experienced before. I remember the day I proposed to her. It was on the roof of our favorite restaurant. I was nervous, even though I was sure she would say yes. And when she cried with happiness, I thought, that's it. I have found my person. Life went on as usual. We started preparing for the wedding, choosing a venue, inviting guests, discussing details. I saw her so happy and thought that nothing could spoil it, but I was wrong. Everything was fine until something changed. At first, I didn't pay attention because, we all get busy, tired, preoccupied with our own affairs at times. But then it started to happen again. Kate became different. Not drastically, not in a way that I immediately raised the alarm. But something in her changed. At first it was something small. Her phone was always on silent. We used to be able to sit together and if she received a message, she would just answer it without paying attention. But now she would take the phone and go to another room or turn the screen down, as if she was hiding something. I told myself that I was just thinking too much. Well, maybe she has some business at work, maybe she's helping one of her friends, maybe something else. But then it became part of her behavior. She started coming home later. She said she was late because of work, but even when I asked her how her day was, she answered dryly, without details. We used to be able to talk about everything. But now the conversations became short, almost forced. I remember that evening when we were sitting on the couch together. I leaned against her as usual, hugged her, and she seemed to tense up. Instantly. As soon as I felt it, something turned inside me. It was not just a coincidence, not a random moment. It was something more. I said to her, "Kate, are you okay?" She smiled, but it was a strained smile. "Yes, I'm just tired." But it was a lie. I knew it. She had never been like this with me. And then I thought for the first time, what if it's not just tired? What if it's something else? I tried not to get myself worked up. Seriously, I said to myself, dude, you're just being paranoid. We all get tired sometimes, we all have our personal space. But, there's something that cannot be explained by logic, intuition. And my intuition was screaming that something was wrong. Kate continued to behave strangely. She was leaving the house more often without explanation. There were always messages on her phone, and she always found a way to answer them when I wasn't around. But the moment that really threw me off track happened one night. She was in the shower and her phone was on the nightstand. It lit up and a message appeared on the screen. I didn't even think about reading it, but my eyes fell on the screen. "Don't forget about tomorrow." "I can't wait for red heart." I froze. At that moment, 1,000 thoughts ran through my head. Who is this? What does "don't forget" mean? What is this "can't wait"? And, most importantly, this emoticon. This is not how colleagues, friends, or acquaintances write. The sender is AL. I didn't know anyone with those initials. It was not her friend, not someone from her family. It was something completely different. The worst assumption immediately came to mind, but I still tried to stay calm. Maybe it was some kind of innocent message. Maybe I was misunderstanding something. But then why was she hiding her phone? Why was she constantly avoiding talking to me? I heard the water turn off in the bathroom. I quickly moved away from her phone and pretended to just scroll through the feed on mine. But everything was boiling inside me. She came out, toweling her hair, and smiled at me as if nothing had happened. I looked at her and realized that I no longer knew who she really was. I couldn't just leave it unanswered. I was torn inside. Who is this AL? What is this meeting she can't wait for? I had to know the truth. I decided to proceed cautiously. I took a deep breath, tried to look calm, and asked her, "Who is AL?" She froze for a second. It was a barely noticeable moment, but I caught it. And then she quickly composed herself and answered with a smile, "It's just a colleague from work. We're discussing a new project tomorrow." I got to know her well enough to know when she was lying. Her eyes always ran a little when she was making things up on the fly. And now they were running. I wanted to believe her, honestly. I wanted to just say, "Okay," and move on and not think about it. But I didn't have that choice anymore. There was only one thought in my head: she's hiding something. The next day I decided to find out the truth. I wasn't going to play the fool. If she was going to meet with this AL, I wanted to know who it was. When she told me she was meeting a friend in the evening, I just nodded and pretended not to care. But as soon as she left the apartment, I took my jacket and followed her. She was walking fast, as if she was a little nervous. At first it was an ordinary street, then a neighborhood with expensive restaurants, and then she went into a hotel. Not a cafe, not an office, not some meeting room. Into a hotel, and she was not alone. She had a man with her. I stopped. My heart was pounding so hard that it seemed passers-by could hear it. I pulled out my phone and took a few pictures. That was the moment when everything fell into place. Kate was lying to me. And I had to find out how far this lie had gone. I stood there as if paralyzed. I watched my fiancée walk into the hotel with a man. She didn't even look back. She just walked, as if it was a normal thing for her. I felt everything inside shrinking. Anger. Pain. Betrayal. I wanted to believe that it was just a terrible coincidence, that she wasn't doing what I thought she was doing. But then I looked at my phone again and saw her message: "Don't forget about tomorrow." Can't wait, red heart. It wasn't just a work meeting. It wasn't anything innocent. I could have just turned around and left. Forget it, pretend I hadn't seen anything. But this was not my story. I had to know the truth to the end. I entered the hotel lobby and walked a little closer, staying in the shadows. They approached the front desk. He said something to the receptionist and they were given a key. The room was on the 7th floor. I quickly took a few photos. I don't know why. Maybe for evidence, maybe to remind myself that this was not a dream, I decided to find out who this man was. I couldn't let it go. After they disappeared in the elevator, I went to the reception and pretended to be looking for a friend. "Excuse me," I told the receptionist, "I just saw an acquaintance of mine, but I'm not sure if it's him. His name is, Alex, I think." I just took a chance. And you know what? It worked. The receptionist looked at the computer and nodded. "Yes, Alex Lynch. He's a regular here." Alex Lynch, the name didn't ring a bell. But I put it in my phone and started looking it up, and then I found out the truth. Alex Lynch was not just an acquaintance. Not a friend. Not a colleague, he was her husband. She was married. All this time. And I had no idea. I couldn't believe it. My body felt numb, my brain refused to accept this information. I reread the data about him again and again, as if trying to find some mistake. But everything was real. Alex Lynch was not just some guy she was dating. He was her husband. I started digging deeper. It turned out that they had been together for more than 5 years. They even traveled together, which I knew nothing about. There were photos of them hugging, smiling, celebrating anniversaries. She was living a double life. For me, she was a bride. For him, she was a wife. This explained everything. Why she became more aloof. Why her phone was always on silent. Why she was constantly walking away when someone wrote to her. She wasn't just cheating on me, I was a backup. A backup husband. I began to recall all the moments that seemed trivial at the time, but now formed a complete picture. She never allowed me to post photos of us on social media, saying, "I don't like to show off my personal life." She often went on business trips, but always without much detail. She never introduced me to her old friends, only to new ones, those who might not know anything about her past. I was just another part of her life. A part that had to remain in the shadows. The worst part was that she was preparing to marry me. Why? Why did she need to do that? Was she planning to divorce him? Or did she just want to keep them both? I didn't have any answers, but I had one thought: I couldn't just accept it. She had played me, and now it was my turn. I wasn't going to let it go. She played me, made a fool of me, and now it was my turn. I've collected all the evidence. Screenshots of photos of them together, the story of their marriage, my own photos from the hotel. Everything. I knew it was too easy to just break up with her. She had been deceiving me for a long time and in cold blood, and I wanted the truth to catch up with her. First, I sent all the evidence to her family. Her parents, her brother, even her aunt, with whom she was close. I imagined their faces when they saw that their perfect daughter was leading a double life. Then I found Alex's profile. At first I thought about just writing to him, but then I decided that it would be better if he found out for himself from someone he trusted. I found his sister on social media and sent her everything I had. And finally, her job. She worked for a prestigious company where her reputation was important. I sent an anonymous letter to her boss, not only telling him about her deception, but also mentioning that she lied about her business trips and used her work time to meet with a man she was no longer with. When she returned home, I was waiting for her packed suitcases. She came in, smiling, as if nothing had happened. But as soon as she saw the things by the door, her expression changed. "What is this?" Her voice was tense. I just smiled. Calmly, without anger. I didn't feel any pain anymore. "Say hello to your husband." Her face turned pale. She opened her mouth to say something. But I didn't give her a chance. I took her phone, put it in his hands, and showed him all the messages I had sent to her family, friends, and work. You lost everything, Kate. I hope it was worth it. I opened the door. She stood there for a second, trying to say something, but then she just grabbed her suitcases and ran out. I closed the door. And you know what? I felt better. A month passed. During this time I went through all the stages: anger, disappointment, sadness, emptiness. But you know what's interesting? Every day I felt better. I realized that I had not lost anything valuable. On the contrary, I got rid of lies, betrayal, and a double life in which I was assigned the role of a fool. And then something happened that I did not expect. One evening, when I had just returned from the gym, my phone lit up with a new message: "Please talk to me." Kate, I laughed. Sincerely, without anger. Did she really think I would want to talk to her after everything that had happened? I didn't answer. But my curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to find out what had happened to her. It turned out that she had lost everything. Her family had turned their backs on her. Alex found out the truth and kicked her out. She also had serious problems at work. I don't know if she was fired, but her reputation was ruined. She was left alone, and now, when she had nothing left, she suddenly remembered me. But it was too late. I was no longer her plan B. I was not her backup, her safety net. I was a free man who went through this nightmare and came out stronger. I deleted her message. With pleasure, and then I picked up the phone and wrote a message to the person who really deserved it. "Hi. Do you want to have coffee?" Smiley face. I didn't know what would happen next. But I knew one thing: it was a new beginning. No more lies. No betrayal. No Kate. Well, that was my story. I hope it fascinated you and you learned something new for yourself. If you liked it, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss new videos. Share this story with your friends and let me know what you think in the comments. I'm very interested to hear your opinion. See you in the next video.